Welcome in, guys. It is Brad with College SportsCast. We are here to do Big Blue HoopsCast post game after Kentucky takes down Vandy 82-61. Welcome in, guys. It is Brad with College SportsCast. We are here to do our Big Blue HoopsCast. This is episode 12. We're at week 26, season 3. I got Hammonds on here with me. What's up, John?
What's up, man? What's going on?
So about 20 minutes ago or so, Kentucky ended their game against Vandy and got the win tonight. Which is always a good thing if we can get a win. I'll start out the show saying we are part of Stadium Rant, and we appreciate Stadium Rant. We ride on Stadium Rant. Check us out. Articles all over the place. John's writing them left and right. I've swamped most of the time, but I get some out throughout the month. Right on the women's most of the time, and he's on the men's. So check them out. Also, if you are on Facebook, you can help support us by sending stars. It does help us earn a little money to continue to make more content. Or if you would like to support us full time, once a month, 99 cents, it does give you your own subscribers chat room and page on Facebook. Check that out for only 99 cents a month. All right, John. Big second half, and that's kind of where I want to talk about it. I mean, we can talk about the whole game, but the second half, Kentucky scored 41 in both halves. Actually, they scored 41, but it was 41-40 at halftime, and they were beating us on the boards. They got a couple of rebounds at the end of the first half and cut it 41-40 on offensive rebounds. That's something that this team has been giving up too much. But in the second half, they played a different style and a different game, and we got a much, much different result in the second half. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, first half there was some questions there about their rebounding. Vanderbilt was shooting stride for stride with them. The defense couldn't get really many stops. They had a 1-point lead at halftime, which should have been 3 because they actually let Vandy get 3 offensive boards right before the break and cut it to 1. The biggest thing that I want to say about all this, they surrendered 40 points in the first half.
Only held 21 in the second.
8 of 27 shooting and 1 of 10 from 3 in the second half. Vandy only scored 21 points after halftime.
Yep.
And 5 of those came, I think, in the last few minutes of the game when the game was pretty much all decided. I'm just going to say it, Brad. Amari Williams is playing at an elite level right now.
I'm telling y'all, I've been saying it for a while. I told some people in the chat, man, that had been dogging him, and I told him, man, he's by far been our best player the last 5-6 ball games. It's not even close.
He had the triple-double at Ole Miss, had the big game at Texas where they should have won. He done all he could to win that game by himself. He played great tonight. I'm just going to say it. I think he should be all SEC. I know that's probably throwing out there,
Listen, I love OA, and he plays great, but I'm going to tell you right now, Amari Williams is what is making this team tick right now.
And another thing, UK was missing its top 3 guards and still done what they did to Vanderbilt. And this is a good –
Which is, John, exactly why I love the way they played in the second half. They played inside out. We come out, the first few possessions, we posted up Williams, we posted up Carr. We had a big advantage on the inside. Mm-hmm. They couldn't stop us. We jumped out to like a 15-6 run to open the second half simply by going inside to Carr and Williams.
And, Brea, I thought, played really, really well. He hit some big threes there. I think it was on the first possession of the game. He went 3 of 4 from 3-pointers. I think he finished with 12 points. I'm going to tell you, an unexpected star shines tonight, Brad. Colin Chandler.
I'm definitely going to talk about him because I think he had his best game by far. It's not even close.
7 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists.
And he could have had 2 more assists very easily if people hit shots.
Yeah, I mean, he played a really, really good game. I thought Travis Perry played good. Now, I will say Trent Noah did not have his greatest game. He missed some shots.
He did.
And his confidence kind of got shot a little bit there in the first half. And he just –
Here's what I want to say, Madeline, and I'm glad to see everybody's on with us. Madeline's on, Michael. I appreciate you guys being on. But here's what I want to say. The way we're playing, the way we played in the second half tonight, okay, as long as we keep playing without 3 guards, ball handling guards, we have to play inside out and play through our bigs. That's what we have. And Amari Williams has been tearing it up. I loved that Carr was back in the starting lineup tonight. I think that helped. He had 11 points, first double-digit game for a while for Carr. I think that helped. And we went to him in the second half.
Listen to these numbers, Brad. It's gonna blow your mind. Amari Williams had 17 points, 6 of 6 shooting,
5 for 5 from the free throw line,
and he pulled down 6 rebounds and he blocked 4 shots.
Yep.
Is there anybody in the country right now playing better than maybe Janai Brown?
I'm going to be honest with you, John. I'll get
Williams.
to Chandler in just a minute, but I'm going to be honest with you. His NBA stock has got to be rising the way he's playing. I don't think a lot of people had him on the radar NBA-wise before this season started. But let's be honest. His stock has to be rising the way he's playing.
And I'm going to be honest, everybody wants to jump on Carr because he's unplayable. Well, tonight he looked like his old self at times. He had 11 points. He was 5 of 8 from the field. Having a healthy Carr will be huge for the Cats late in this stretch, which they go to Alabama on Saturday. Which is
putting him back in the starting lineup probably helped his confidence.
Yeah, I think it does. I think it did. I'm gonna be honest with you. Early on, I really thought this game was going to be 105 to 100. Vanderbilt was making shots. Kentucky was making shots. It just seemed like every time we made a little run, Vanderbilt made a run. Devin McLaughlin played really, really well for Vanderbilt. Jalen Carey played really well for them. Jason Edwards played really well. Listen, y'all, this is a good Vanderbilt team. I know people say, well, they only beat Tennessee and Kentucky. But if you've watched every game that they played this season, they've been in almost every single game they play.
I mean,
and to do this without 3 of your top scorers and guards is absolutely impressive, to say the least. And it continues to show what Pope has done with this roster. You beat Tennessee twice. You beat a good Mississippi State team that just knocked off A&M last night. You beat a good Vanderbilt team on the revenge factory at home. You beat a good Duke team. Listen, Pope's first year is rainbows compared to what we thought it would be. Now, we've had some injuries hit us along the way, and that's going to happen in the course of the season.
I still think, we're going to talk about the Texas game here in a few minutes. I still think we've given a couple of games away.
Yeah,
Texas
we have.
One of them.
We have. But I thought tonight was very, very impressive in the second half. But I'm going to say this, that I really think needs to be addressed going into Alabama, and especially coming up with Auburn. You got to fix your offensive rebounding.
I thought we did a ton better in the second half. I think playing.
I was talking more or less the first half
and playing inside out. I think if we can play that way, I think it helped our rebounding, our defensive rebounding. I also think it helped our defense pick it up.
And I think too,
because when you can play better offensively and you can go down the floor and score kind of at will on the inside, it helps you pick up your intensity. And I think it helped our defense as well.
And another thing that I really liked what Pope did was he went big. He went with Carr. He went with Williams. There was times where he went with Almanor. There was a couple instances where he would jerk Colin Chandler out and bring in Perry, give him a little breather. I thought Perry hit a couple big shots down the stretch and kind of pushed the lead out. And Colin made some unbelievable.
Bray hit a couple of big shots in the second half.
Stole a ball. He got a layup. And Chandler had one of the best games he's had as a Wildcat. And John Rothstein, if many don't know him, he's a CBS guru, college basketball analyst. He put on there tonight, Colin Chandler, buy stock now.
Yeah.
I thought that was –
Listen, I know a lot of Kentucky fans have been down on him because he hasn't played well at times. But Colin Chandler has a lot of talent. He's just got to get a better feel of the game and get a little confidence out there on the floor. And a night like tonight, you could see him getting better on the floor.
See, here's the big thing. Kentucky opened what, Brad? 18-6 run. And from there, it was just domination. The offense was humming. The defense played really, really well. They got pretty much contributions from everybody that stepped on. I will
say this. Vandy missed some three-pointers that some of these other teams have been hitting.
They did.
Tonight. If Vandy hits 3 or 4 more three-pointers in the second half, it's not a 21-point game. It's more like a 8 or 10-point game.
I'm going to say this
before probably what it would have been had they hit a few shots.
I'm going to say this before we move on to the Texas game. Williams has been on a heck of a run, Brad. It seems that there were some that didn't have faith in Williams early on in the year, but I was one of those. You was one of those. I think he's finally figuring it out. He's played some incredible basketball, and this game was no different than what he played against Texas. And
Chris, I absolutely loved it. It's what we started the show out with, talking about the inside out. And playing without your guards, I think that's what we have. That's how we're going. That's our advantage right now. Our advantage is not guards and shooting the ball right this minute. Now, we have some players that can go in and kick it out or get rebounds and kick it out, go inside and kick it out across court and stuff that can hit some shots. But I don't think our offense can be that setting screens with our big guys 20, 25 feet from the basket. And I don't think our offense can be that. Tonight, we posted up and got it inside.
Yeah, and like I said about Williams, he bullied in the paint tonight. He blocked shots. He does what he does on the glass. He helped pretty much initiate the offense at times. He does most games. If Kentucky can get healthy, get Lamont Butler and Jackson Robinson back, and you add Amari Williams into this little run that he's on, Kentucky's going to be difficult to beat in March. They're going to.
Amari Williams has played as well right now. Like, I really think even down the stretch, even if we get Butler back and he's playing good, and we get Robinson back and he's playing good, I still think this team is going to have to figure out times where we run through Amari Williams down low.
Well, and you got to remember, Brad, a lot of people don't realize about Colin Chandler. He was away from basketball for like, what was it, a year?
2 years.
2 years. And he was on a missions trip and basically away from basketball. And it's taken him some time to get adjusted to the game. And I'm going to tell you, every win that we get without Lamont Butler Jackson, I think means a lot more than people think. It's even more fun when they can get revenge on a team like Vanderbilt that beat them early in the year. We beat Tennessee twice. I think it matters, especially everybody says,
we found something that Pope will use in the second half tonight, because we fixed some of those in the second half.
And I feel like sometimes people say, well, you win those games without Butler and Robinson, but it ain't going to really matter. Yeah, it does matter, because the more you can win without those guys, the better your chances are when they are actually healthy. And it adds to your win total. And this was a quad 2 win tonight. This was not a knacky, it was a decent win at home against a really good team.
And a win against a team who needed a quad 1 win, and they didn't get it.
Yeah. Fun game. Honestly, felt like it was the best defensive.
I don't want to go off without talking about Owe. Owe has really played great ball. I think overall, from start to now, he has been Kentucky's most consistent player all year long. By far, I don't think that's even a question, to be quite honest with you.
You want to know something he did? You want to know something he did tonight? He extended his streak of scoring 10+ points in 26 games.
That also
happened since Malik Monk did it in 30 straight back in 16-17 season.
Yeah. I'll tell you a stat. So far, every game this season, Owe has scored double figures.
And I'm going to tell you something.
Wait a second. In the history of Kentucky basketball, do you know that that's only happened 6 times for a full season? The last player to score in double figures in every single game was Rex Chapman in 1987-88. If he can continue the streak and score, Antonio Reeves missed it by 1 point last year in one game. He scored 9 points one time last year.
Ortega has a chance to break that.
He could do something really special.
And I'm going to tell you real quick before we move on to the Texas. Ortega got to the paint at will tonight. Vanderbilt could not guard him. Vanderbilt's been good all year, but there's been some lapses lately with Vanderbilt. They play really good first half. They blew the Tennessee lead Saturday.
They're playing some tough teams. Tennessee, and they played Alabama, and they played.
Something was just off tonight. I mean, I know Kentucky was hitting, but Vanderbilt's second half just did not look like Vanderbilt that they had looked like the last month. They just looked off for some reason.
Yeah.
They just never could get – they could never get in a rhythm. Kentucky kept them out of the rhythm on defense. I think that had a lot to do with it.
Hey,
it was just overall good performance by the Cats.
All right. I know we don't want to, but we're going to get to the Texas game. The loss at Texas, John, I'm going to be honest with you, is a big one. we are up 65-60 with 3 minutes and 51 seconds to go.
Yep.
And we get outscored. We gave up 22 points in the last 3 minutes and 51 seconds.
And a lot of that.
And got beat 82-78. We give up 22 points.
Well, and a lot of that had to do with Trey Johnson and Tremont Mark going for, what was it, 48? Was it 48 points? I can't remember. They totaled it together.
It had more than 58.
It was might have
58 points.
Most of the night,
and 26.
Kentucky was good enough to win this game, regardless with them having their point guards out. They led for a good stretch. They found offensive.
We let two people beat us, to be honest.
When the game reached its critical point, Kentucky just folded, and Texas found another gear.
But John, let me say this again to you. For 36 minutes in this game, we held them to 60 points.
Yeah.
In 4 minutes, they scored 22 points. Three minutes and 51 seconds.
Yeah.
That's what, we had about 5 turnovers, careless passing. I don't know. Listen, people jumped on Travis Perry because he had one of them in the middle of the court there, but Kobe Brea threw it to nobody. Atiga Owe on the out of bounds, just threw it out of bounds, threw it to nobody. I mean, we're talking about seniors that Brea is, and junior that's played a lot of ball that are just throwing the ball away at the end of this game. And for me, that's what was so bad about this game. Listen, we played without Butler. We played without Robinson. We've been playing without Kerr Carissa. I mean, everybody knows that. We were playing without our guards. Travis Perry got his first start of his career on the road, a freshman. Listen, I'm not going to say that I thought we should have killed them, but being up 65-60 with 3 minutes and 51 seconds to go, Kentucky has to close that game out.
Well, and I tell you, during that, 2-minute stretch, they got careless with the ball. They couldn't figure out how to run offense, and Texas just seemed to just click another gear, and in Kentucky just looked like they just fell apart. And you can't let that happen on the road.
Marcia, it was terrible. That Texas game, I think, was a huge mark on this team, the way they finished. There was another game, the Vanderbilt game. We fought back, got a lead, had a lead late on the road, and we gave that game away and had turnovers. I think against some of these unranked, lower-tier teams, Kentucky's having an issue with finishing off games.
I'm going to say this while we're on the Texas game. Shout out to Trey Johnson. Absolute stud. Just took the game over, basically, Brad. Hit his free throws, made some key and one baskets. Tremont Mark played really good.
Marcia, 100%. Oh, Trey Johnson was great.
Yeah.
But I knew Trey Johnson was going to get his. He's good. What really beat us was Mark.
Yeah, he hit some shots that,
Mark averaged 9 points a game this season, and we let him have 26.
He hit some fadeaways. He hit some off-balance shots. Maybe what I would have done in that position, I would have maybe moved Olway to handle the ball.
Well, they put a press on us.
And I would have maybe put somebody like Olway at the ball handling and maybe used him as a –
which is smart because we were without our main ball handlers, and we had a freshman that was, starting the game. I mean, it was a smart move. I'm not going to say it's
was.
not, but we also had Oway taking the ball out and Brea down there, who's a graduate senior as well. So, I mean, it wasn't just Travis Perry.
Well, and I thought, like I said, I thought Oway maybe could have had the ball, because sometimes when Oway has the ball, he tries to drive. And I felt like at times Oway in that loss, he was trying to play with Trey Johnson 1-for-1. He was trying to be the guy that Trey Johnson was, and they was trying to force too much stuff. And I think that caused them to lose a little bit too. Oway was trying to do too much in that game. And they just let that game slip away.
Even the veterans, though, Marcia, I mean, Brea made mistakes. Oway made mistakes. That's the part that bothered me. It wasn't just the freshmen. You're saying we needed somebody to protect the ball. We needed veterans. Well, we had some out there, but they didn't do it. They didn't get the job done.
They didn't. Unfortunately, it's a loss, but Kentucky did bounce back. They beat Vanderbilt tonight, which was a positive sign. And if they can kind of bring that intensity that they brought tonight, Brad, to Alabama Saturday, I think they got a good chance to win on the road. But they're going to have to bring that same intensity. They're not going to be able to do the things they did in the first half against the team on the road against Alabama, because Alabama will light them up. Mark Sears.
So Alabama is playing Missouri right now. Let's be honest. Alabama is going to be a monster on Saturday at Alabama.
It'll be tough.
Especially if we are without Robinson and Butler. I'll be honest with you. I'm hoping that Butler could be back. I don't know if he will. I don't think Robinson will be. But I think there's an outside chance that Butler could be.
I'm hearing on Robinson. I don't know I'm hearing possibly LSU at worst. And that's not bad, because you get him right before the Missouri game. You get him right when you start the SEC tournament. Now, Butler, I've heard different stories. I've heard Alabama. I've heard Oklahoma game, he'll be back.
Tonight was 18, Chris.
So who knows? But I will say this, Brad. Alabama plays our style.
I'll be honest with you, Marcia, I don't think we will see Jackson Robinson. I think there is a chance that we might see Butler.
I will say this, Brad. Alabama plays our style, and they like to play the way we like to play. Maybe this gets us into hitting some shots. Maybe Alabama misses a few shots. Maybe we get, Alabama's not played great at home.
I hear what you're saying, but John, I think we found something in the second half tonight.
Yeah, I think we did
that
too.
Could work even against Alabama on the road. Yeah. If we post up and we play through our bigs, and we could get the big guy that's got the weird name, transferred from Rutgers. What, Chris? Clifford. Yeah, Clifford.
I call him Big Cliff.
Yeah. If we could get him and Grant Nelson in foul trouble down low.
There's a chance.
And play through the middle and take a little bit more time and play like we did in the second half. Instead of us playing, especially if we play without Butler and Robinson, instead of us trying to play at their pace on their home floor, I'm going to be honest with you, John. I think that we are going to have to play a little bit slower and a more physical post-up, down-low game through Amari Williams and maybe Carr.
Yeah, I'm like you. I think we found something with that tonight.
I do.
And speaking of which, you was talking about Alabama, Missouri. Alabama's down 16 on the road to Missouri. I'm going to be honest with you, Brad. That Missouri game at the end of the year is not looking great.
No, that's a scary game.
It's going to be a tough game, man.
They're 16-1 at home too.
And Alabama's they're getting introduced tonight. So just another night in the SEC, y'all.
I think Robinson's injury is a little more serious, to be honest.
I don't think it's season ending, but I think it's
No,
taking
I don't either. But his tendons were
more
messed
time
up.
for him to
I think it was a little bit more serious than Butler's, to be honest.
And I think it's taking a little bit more time to heal than it normally would.
So on Saturday against this Alabama team, especially if they're coming off of a loss here tonight in Missouri, they're going to be up and ready for this game when Kentucky comes to town. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, I think especially if we play without Butler and Robinson, I think we have to play like we did in the second half tonight.
We do. We really do.
If Butler plays, I think he helps us because I think he can help guard Mark Sears. My biggest concern in this game Saturday, and I'm just going to throw it out there, I love the kid, but I do not think Travis Perry is ready defensively against a guard as good as Mark Sears.
No, I don't either.
I'm just going to say it. Listen, I love the kid. He's a freshman. He's got a lot of time left there to gain some experience and to be ready for players like that down the road. But this will be his third start if he starts.
But here's the thing, Brad, as we move to the women's side of things. Even if you lose this game, you still got an opportunity Tuesday night, Wednesday night against Oklahoma. You beat Vanderbilt. Had you lost this game and then lose to Alabama, you're kind of going down a bad road.
Well, yeah. I mean, you've got to win. You've got to win at Oklahoma. I mean, Oklahoma's not played well.
I just think this win tonight was a very big confidence win for this team, and to get them a little momentum and get the monkey off their back because they've been struggling.
Because then we got Auburn and Missouri.
And I thought we looked like old Kentucky from November tonight. I do.
I thought we played great. So those are my takes on the Alabama game. Oh, yeah. We got LSU too.
Yeah, we play them at home. You gotta win that one. So.
I forgot. But, yeah. So, Auburn is going to be tough. Alabama's tough. Missouri on the road is going to be tough.
LSU.
So,
the probably most
Oklahoma has to be wins. I would love to sneak out one win out of Alabama, Auburn, or Missouri.
Well, the one game that's probably the most winnable of all of them is Oklahoma. They're pretty much they're on.
That's got to be a win. To be honest,
they're on treading water, like they're treading bad waters. Yeah. And if you need to go down there and you need to take care of business.
Oh, I agree 100%. All right, we're going to switch it up and go to the women's. The women on Sunday played Georgia at home and got a big win against a team that's not at the top of the SEC, a team that they should have won big at, and they did. Almost a 30-point win, 29-point win at home. All 5 starters was double figures. Of course, Georgia, Amor leads them with 21 points. But let's talk about Tiani Key. She has really played well, even in the losses at Ole Miss and at home against Texas. Tiani Key had double-doubles. She had another double-double the other night, 14 points, 14 rebounds. She had 4 assists, 2 blocks. I mean, she really has been playing well.
Yeah. Playing at elite level. The Kentucky women have hit some spots here lately where they've hit some road bumps, Brad. But they still hold the chance for the 4th and final double bye.
Stop it, Chris. You knew I'd laugh at that.
He did. I just seen it. Oh goodness. Oh. But anyway,
Chad Baker Mazzari, or whatever his name is. It probably wasn't him.
Kentucky holds the rights to the 4th and final double bye. They still got a chance at the double bye. Now
They
you
do
got Alabama.
a big one. They're in the fourth spot.
You got Alabama behind them, Ole Miss, I think Oklahoma, Tennessee's there, and Vanderbilt.
Yep.
So we're going to have to win some more games coming up, which they got at Missouri. They play LSU at home, Tennessee at home, and then they go to South Carolina to finish the year out.
Yeah, the girls just have 4 games left.
That's a tough stretch for these girls.
Right now, John, they are 20-4. They are 9-3 in the SEC, sitting in the 4th spot behind Texas, South Carolina, and LSU. That's the only teams that's ahead of them. They are ahead of teams like Tennessee. They're ahead of teams like Alabama, Ole Miss, Oklahoma. I mean, they're ahead of some really good teams. And matter of fact, out of those teams that I just mentioned, we beat Alabama. We beat Vanderbilt. We beat Oklahoma.
And you sort of got these kind of games like Ole Miss coming up. You know, you got the A&M game where they lost on the road where they just fell apart. You know, they lost to Ole Miss. They didn't shoot. You know, they lost to Texas, which Texas is probably one of the better teams in the country. But you got to win the game against Missouri tomorrow night. It's sort of like that A&M game. You can't afford to drop this game if you want to get a bye in the tournament.
And I'll get to the Missouri game here in a little bit. I mean, now, that was going to be my next topic.
This difficult stretch, I think, is going to test Kenny Brooks. 3 of the teams, 4 remaining regular season teams, are in the top 25. So, you know, including 2 in the top 10.
But this Georgia game the other night, though, I thought it was important. I thought coming off of those 2 losses, I thought jumping out early. They, you know, Amelia Hassett hit 3 threes in the first quarter. They jumped out 30-15 in the first quarter. Really got going. Had a 30-point quarter. Yes, the girls play quarters. If you guys don't know that yet. They've been doing that for about 10 years now. The girls' game is a little different, and that's part of the reason why I like it. I mean, it's a little different game. And in the first quarter, they jumped out, was really playing well, had a 30-15 point lead. It was good to see Amelia Hassett get in the scoring column. And I'm going to tell you why. She had been averaging 11 points a game, and she's one of the best 3-point shooters in the country. And the last 3 games, in 3 games, John, she had 7 total points.
Well, and I think, too, what helped this was they jumped out early quick. I think it was like 30-15, and they jumped out quick to this lead, and they never really relinquished it. I think that's what you have to do with a team like Georgia that's not great. You can't let a team like that hang around after you.
And I'm going to be honest with you. That's how they need to play. They spread the ball around. Deja Lawrence got in, was double figures. All 4 starters had 14 or more points.
Yeah. So great win. Now the Texas game, you know, so much went wrong in the Texas game.
It was just bad shooting.
They couldn't shoot.
Texas A&M was bad shooting. I mean, the games that they have dropped, the road game at North Carolina that they dropped, it was bad shooting. They scored 53 points. They couldn't hit.
And to add to it, Texas put the D on them. Texas forced them to do things they normally don't do.
All of those teams are in the top 30 defensively.
Roy Harmon, Oldacre, Madison Booker. Texas got a team.
And North Carolina are in the top 30 defensively.
Texas has got a team that could win it all. That's just how good they are. Vic Schaefer's got a really good basketball team.
So the girls, as we speak, is probably at Mizzou Arena. Well, where the girls play, I'm not sure if they actually play in the same arena as the boys or not. But
I think they do.
But they are probably shooting around. If not, they're waiting to the end of this game before they're shooting around. But Brooks always flies in the night before, and he has a shoot around the night before with the players. I'm hoping they can get in there, find their shots on that floor, and continue to play and spread the ball around and hit some shots tomorrow night.
Well, and Kenny Brooks said it, I think, Monday in his press conference. Might have been Sunday. He said, when we're all connected, we're a really good basketball team. Because
it takes he needs all five. And I'll tell you another player that played good the other night. Lexi Blue, talking about Colin Chandler tonight as a freshman coming off the bench and playing well. I thought Lexi Blue had her best game in the SEC. She had one or two games before the SEC started against some lower tier teams that was probably better, but it was her best SEC game. She had 5 points off the bench. She had an assist or two. She had a couple of rebounds. I thought she really come in and contributed and played well off the bench the other night.
Well, and this Missouri game holds a lot of, postseason seeding implications. They're going to
absolutely,
like I told you, they're trying to hold on to that fourth and final double bye, and you just cannot drop a game like this to Missouri if you want that to happen.
Yeah, they have a 2-game lead on Ole Miss with 4 to go.
And the thing is, Ole Miss has the tiebreaker because they beat us.
They do, because they beat them. They have a 2-game lead on Ole Miss. They can't tie with them, because if they do, Ole Miss gets the tiebreaker because Ole Miss beat us.
And I think the game Sunday's huge. LSU at home. I think that's a big game as well. I'm sure you're going to be there.
Tomorrow night is an absolute must-win. This Missouri team is about 500, but they are 2-10 in the SEC. They're at the bottom, tied at the bottom.
They're 13 and 14.
13 and 14. All right.
Yeah.
They're 2-10 in the SEC. And it's not that they're a bad team. They've lost a lot of close games, this Missouri team has.
Sort of like South Carolina in the men's.
I mean, they've lost a lot of close games. And especially at home, they've lost a lot of close games. Mm-hmm. So it is a game that could be dangerous. Missouri most of the time hangs around until about the fourth quarter, and then a team might pull away to a 9 or 10-point win or something. But this is a tougher team than a lot of people probably want to give them credit for. But it's an absolute must-win tomorrow night.
It is. And I'm sure you're going to the Sunday game against LSU.
I
know you.
But before I do that, I am, though. Men and women's team is a lot alike. When they're hitting, they can beat anyone. But if they can't hit, it don't end well for us. That's true.
Sure.
I will give you that, Chris. That is kind of true. Before I get to that, I do want to mention that Coach Brooks, last night we did our Big Fuss show, and John and I done a topic of Coach of the Year candidates. And I threw in and mentioned Coach Brooks. And today, the Naismith announced their final watch list with 15 names on it. And Coach Brooks made the 15 names list. The winner will be announced. Well, the final 4 will be announced on March the 24th.
Yeah,
and the winner will be announced at the final 4.
That's usually around the Sweet 16, around there, Elite 8.
Yeah. March the 24th, the final 4 will be announced. But he made the final, watch list. There's 15 names. 6 of the 15 are from SEC. Texas, South Carolina, LSU, Kentucky, Tennessee, and Oklahoma were the 6 coaches that were named on the 15 of the 15 teams. Got to give a huge shout out. First season, 11 transfers, only 2 players back. And that was Cassidy Rowe and Sanaya Tyler. Only 2 players back. He had 11 transfers. 2 of them got hurt. He's only played 9. Only had 9 of those transfers available. And all season long, they were hurt in the preseason and have not played at all. So for Coach Brooks to come in here And to have this team in the position they are in year one is simply amazing.
Well, and to
I
top
got to
it
give
off,
a huge shout out to him, man.
and to top it off to the women on the men's side too. You know, you beat Tennessee twice. You beat a good Vanderbilt team. Beat a good Mississippi State team on the road that's playing a lot better now.
Yeah.
The A&M last night. You know, you beat Duke. You beat your rival in your first season.
Yep.
You beat Duke, Tennessee twice in your rival in your first season. Like, I can't get no better, can it? Like, I mean,
if he could have just got that Arkansas game, that's the one.
that's the one that kind of stings. But you know, he's probably in the running for Coach of the Year too. You're probably going to see Pat Kelsey, as we're talking about Kentucky side of things here, down the road. He's probably going to be on that list. What a job he's done at Louisville. But overall, great win tonight, Brad. I enjoy doing these. I think we're going to have to start doing them after these games because apparently on Mondays we can never find time to do these. So maybe after a good win, maybe we can start doing these after these wins. Maybe starting in the tournament and stuff as we go.
Well, we've had a pretty good run with these shows, so
yeah, I love them. They're fun to discuss. So.
Sunday, it's a home sellout crowd. Number 6, I think, this week, LSU is coming to town. Kim Mulkey, another one of those coaches that's on that Coach of the Year, Naismith Coach of the Year candidate list, is coming to town, to Lexington.
Be aware, she dresses prolific.
To historic Memorial Coliseum. I will be there Sunday. I cannot wait. Anisha Morrow, Flau'jae Johnson, Michaela Williams. It's going to be an absolute, probably nightmare of a game. But I remember getting to cover them in the SEC tournament last year with Angel Reese and those players, by the way. And I just loved, I love their whole, the way they go about it. I love how her passion, Kim Mulkey's passion in the game, her demeanor, how much it means to her. I know a week or two ago, do you remember seeing the thing? She slapped the thing out of the assistant's hand, and everybody was posting it and stuff, and everybody's like, well, that's just a little much. Screw that, man. I love Kim Mulkey. I love the passion she coaches with.
She loves basketball.
Honestly, she loves women's basketball. It's a passion about her. But I will say this. I want to beat her on Sunday. I absolutely would love nothing more than to figure out a way to take her down on Sunday. Because if we can do that, there is no way that this team is not going to be a top 4 seed.
You beat LSU. You beat LSU, and even if you beat Tennessee, I think you're locked into a top 4 seed. It's going to be hard to deny the Cats that top seed. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to deny the men's. The men's are probably going to get a top 4 seed too.
They got beat last Sunday at Texas. Texas beat us, then they turn around and beat them. Now, listen, keeping Morrow off the boards is going to be a darn nightmare because she is the leading rebounder in the country, over 14 boards a game. And she's just a double-double machine, to be quite honest with you. She's got like 90-some double-doubles in her career for real. She's a double-double machine. Flau'jae Johnson is kind of like what her name is. I mean, she's just smooth silk, can move with the ball. She can create, get her shot. And then Michaela Williams is the shooter. big girl too. Like she's 6'2" or 6'3" and can shoot. And all three girls are above 17 points a game. So come out to Historic Memorial. It's a sellout. I cannot wait for this game and for the atmosphere that Big Blue Nation brings to Historic Memorial Coliseum. You're muted.
It's probably going to be a lot warmer too, so you can get out of the house.
Yes.
It's going to warm up a
Yes,
little bit.
no more snow. I'm going to this game. Me and Mother Nature are going to have a talk.
She's off her meds this winter, I can tell you.
Me and Mother Nature are going to have a talk. I'm telling you. All right, John. Top 16 teams revealed for Kentucky. Both men's and women's are in the March Madness top 16 teams on the reveal. That is a very good sign for both teams. Here, listen, for the women's, the top 4 seeds get home March Madness games.
They do.
It means a lot to be able to play those games at home. And it's huge to be. They were 13th, then they went out and beat Georgia. If they could beat Missouri tomorrow night, if they could get one of these wins to end the season at or home LSU, home Tennessee, or at South Carolina, they definitely would be in the top 4 seeds, 100%.
Most definitely. Yeah.
Men's side, Kentucky men's got the win tonight. Like I said, they got Alabama, they got Auburn, they got Missouri. Do you think if we lose all 3 of those, do you think there's a chance we're not in the top 4 seeds?
Probably not. I mean, still probably are. You got too many good wins, I think. You might drop to a 4 at the worst. Playing
so you
that
think
4.
if we go 9-9 and lose those 3 games, we're still a top 4 seed?
I think we're going to win one of those. I think we're going to steal a game somewhere. Whether it's at Alabama, whether it's
as of this morning, March Madness, the women's bracketology had Kentucky women's as a 3 seed this morning.
Kentucky and Minority had Kentucky as a 3 seed men's too.
Yeah.
So I think they're in good shape. Their floor is probably a 5 on the men's side, Brad. I mean, it would take a monumental collapse to get to a 6 seed, honestly, because they've got too many wins on their resume's too good.
I'm just saying, to finish out the season here, if we only have wins at Oklahoma and home LSU, and we go 9-9,
I think you're still a 4 seed at the worst, which is not bad for Pope's first year. I mean, but you're going to be put in that 4 or 5 game. You're going to go up against a pretty good team, a Memphis, Marquette. You're going to play a really good team in that second game.
All right, outlook in March. Let's talk about March. Let's talk about SEC tournament first. Where do you think, and I know we don't know matchups and all that, but do you think Kentucky on the men's side, do you think Kentucky can get to the semifinals in the SEC tournament? Because that's a big deal. That's a big deal because there's a bunch of good teams. I mean, you take Missouri and Mississippi State and Tennessee and Alabama and Auburn and Florida.
Here's where it gets catchy. You probably want Ole Miss to lose some more games because you're in that 8-9 range. In that 8-9 range, you're playing the 1 seed right out of the gate. The 7 seed, I think, plays was the 2 seed maybe.
2 seed, yeah.
Which would be maybe Alabama or Florida.
Yeah.
Your better chances of that happening if you lose more games.
If you're 8-9 or a 7, like that, why you're playing a 1 or a 2 in that first quarterfinal game.
You might win the first game on Thursday, but then you're going to have to jump into the quarterfinals on Friday and play a team like Auburn.
Yep. Do you think this Kentucky men's team in SEC tournament, do you think they can get to the semifinals?
I think they can on a neutral court with the crowd behind them. We saw at Duke, the Duke game. Now, Ohio State, we didn't play great, but on a neutral court in Nashville with a lot of UK fans there, I think momentum could carry this team a little bit. Especially
women's side. I'm gonna be honest with you, John. I think if we can keep the double bye and be the 4 seed, I think this women's team has a really good shot of getting to the semifinals.
And I say that with the men's. I say that if they're healthy. If they're not healthy, I don't think they get there. But if they're healthy, with a good contingent of Kentucky fans there, because Kentucky's going to take over Nashville. The fans are going. It's Pope's first year. Fans are going to travel to Nashville. That's just what it's going to happen. And I think with a good crowd contingent, like I said, and you healthy, I think there's a good opportunity. Now with the women, you're going up against teams like South Carolina, Tennessee.
But if you're a top 4 seed, you won't be going up against Tennessee, South Carolina, or LSU in the first game.
Mm-mm.
That's why I say I think if you're a top 4 seed, I think the girls have a really good shot of getting to the semifinals.
But you can't lose. You got to win one of the LSU, Tennessee.
Well, if you can just win one of those against like LSU or Texas or somebody,
you got to hope
to the finals.
You got to hope Ole Miss drops one.
You could get to the finals, is what I'm saying.
You can
if they are in that 4 seed with a double bye. I mean, I really think so. And then
Marcia said that she was going to ask Mark Pope if she could sit next to him for one game.
And then let's go to March. Let's go to March Madness. Where do you think the ceiling is for this men's team? Where do you think the outlook would be? Do you think this men's team, if we get healthy, we get our players back, do you think this men's team gets past the Sweet 16?
Healthy, Sweet 16. Not healthy, probably the second game. And if you get past,
with you, I don't think Kentucky fans will be happy unless we at least get to a Sweet 16.
No, I mean, especially after the last couple of years, losing to St. Peter's, Kansas State, Oakland.
I think Pope has to figure out a way to get this team to the Sweet 16.
If they get to the Sweet 16, I'm not going to be, if they lose in the Sweet 16, I'm not going to be as upset. But you got to at least get there.
And then on the women's side of things,
I think Elite Eight is probably their season.
I think we have a really good team that I kind of feel like the ceiling is probably Elite Eight.
Now, with
I'm not sure that we could beat, the Notre Dames, the USCs, the UCLAs, the Texas, maybe.
Well, and it depends on your draw too. Like,
it does.
You could probably get to the Elite Eight, maybe even the Final
Four. If
we
get a 4 seed, it's going to make a difference because a 4 matches up with a 1 in the Sweet 16.
Well, and then you got to hope for some upsets. Like in the women's game, there's very rarely in the Sweet 16.
The chance of a 1 getting beat before the Sweet 16 is pretty slim.
It's pretty slim, yeah. So
on the women's side, that means if you get a 4 seed, you're going to be matched up with. Right now, you'd be matched up with UCLA or Texas or Notre Dame.
Here's what I want to say before we get off here tonight. Basically in the tournament, okay, men and women, you're going. you're playing on that Thursday and Friday. Now, women play on Sunday and Mondays a lot. But if your name's called and you're playing on that Thursday and Friday, you're playing among those 20 teams, everybody has a chance. Everybody has an opportunity to do something special. And I think if you get in there, you can do some special things.
Well, listen,
you know,
I think the ceiling probably for both of these teams, even if the men are healthy and playing really well, I think it's probably the Elite Eight.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Probably.
Yeah.
I would love to see us get to the Final Four on both of them.
It's going to take some heavy lifting and some figuring out how to play some defense and getting.
And if we do get there, and y'all want to point out, oh, he was wrong, I will accept it. I will admit that I was wrong.
Yep.
But at the same time, setting a month out from when March Madness starts, because it's the Selection Sunday's the 16th, so we're basically a month out to when it's going to start.
Yeah, we're almost at a bracket, John Ross.
So setting a month out, if I had to put a ceiling on it and a floor, I think it's probably Elite Eight and second round. And let's hope second round don't happen for either one of them.
No, you want to get out of that first weekend.
Absolutely.
So,
all right, guys, that's going to wrap it up. John, do you have anything else that you want to mention or talk about?
Not really. I mean, I want to shout out my little sis, Hallie. Let me pronounce that right, Hallie. She get on me about it. Hallie Collins. They're getting ready to start district play coming up. Regionals are getting ready to come up. Big time in high school basketball, I guess, where you are too, Brad. Glasgow and all them. We're going to get started. So this is one of the funnest months of the year for the high school region. There's so many upsets, so many fun games. So high school basketball is getting ready to gear up and get ready for the regionals and district. Probably one of the best times of the year. And championship week is probably one of the greatest times of March. You got so many games every night on TV. You got SoCon, the Southland. You got all these small tournaments, and they play their guts out. If you've never watched them play, they play just for a chance to go to the tournament, and it's actually fun to watch, to see them try to get into the NCAA tournament. It's one of the greatest feelings in the world.
I love this time of year, man.
Yeah, I do too.
Looking forward to it. It's one of my favorite times of the year. I love March. I love March Madness.
There's snow coming next week, I think.
I don't love that so much.
I'm just kidding. I was just giving you a hard time.
All right. So we're on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. This is our Twitter handles. It's been up. We're on Stadium Rant. Please go to Stadium Rant.
I'm outdoing you right now.
Yeah, whatever. Also, we're on the Real Fresh channel. Check them out as well on YouTube. And then you can always go and use our code of CSCast at Home Field Apparel. We would appreciate that.
Shout out to my buddy Joshua Elmore tonight. He watched tonight. He's been battling some sickness. Remember him in your prayers. He's a good friend of mine. He works for Stadium
Rant.
Yeah.
He was on with us for the live show we did for the college football playoff for the
that was something.
Yeah.
That was something night, let me say.
Yeah. So, and we might do that for the Final Four, game this year.
I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it.
But one last thing, and we said this last night in the state of Kentucky, there's been a flood and a lot of flooding going on, and there's been people who lost their lives. And then there are a lot of people who have lost a lot of homes and vehicles and businesses and a lot of things in the flooding. The governor has put together some relief that you can go to. Governor Bashir has, so check
And
that out.
I think the Kentucky basketball team's working with them too.
Yeah. The Kentucky basketball team done a thing and is doing a relief. So if you want to help, you can check them out as well. Kentucky, one of Kentucky's own, Cassidy Rose, parents is affected in this flood, had flooding themselves. So Lonnie, just want to say, Lonnie Rowe, Susan Rowe, we're thinking about you. We're praying for you here at College SportsCast. So I throw that out because I do cover the team and your girl, and I appreciate everything and everybody. So I just want to say that before we go off the show here for the Big Blue Hoops Cast.
We'll be back Friday night.
Yep. We will see you guys Friday night for our game day pick'ems.
Y'all have a good one.
I got a feeling Kentucky LSU might be on there, and Kentucky Alabama. This one's going to scare me. All right, guys.